Natuvion software and the approach, you obviously you're able to help, and we're working with customers across numerous industries. But your particular expertise, your background, the real where you have real expertise is in that energy and utilities section of the market. I think it would be interesting to hear your perspective on some of the challenges that those customers face in terms of their SAP environments and in terms of the move to S/4HANA. From a technical perspective, there are obviously some particular challenges they have with their SAP system. On the one hand, the utilities businesses, their direct retail business have got huge numbers of customers, millions and millions of customers with all the impact that comes in terms of performance and data quality of massive numbers of customers and customer billing. And then on the other hand, you've got some real critical infrastructure, and in terms of SAP, it's enterprise asset management and plant maintenance. So there's specific challenges there. There's also a specific commercial context, I think, in the UK with the budgetary cycles, the asset management plans that the water industries go through, so the government recognises as well in the UK that for the utilities businesses, it's not technology, it's not just a back office function here. Technology and digital is going to drive that way forward in terms of how they interact with their customers, and so digital is a huge part of those budgets as they move forward. And it'd be interesting to hear what you see in Central Europe, but your specific expertise around utilities and what that means for these customers as they look to move to S/4HANA.
Yeah. Let me start with you. I mean, you said already a couple of challenges with utilities, right? So utilities is like a mass, I like to call it mass customer industry or end customer industry, which is they usually have a huge volume of customers, and they are in contact every month with them, which is special for a kind of retailer or special for a kind of like when we look to the industries which are quite comparable, like insurance and media, telecommunication, healthcare, which is like this, but they are not in constant contact with all of their customer base. And utilities is in contact with their customer base every month, and they need a high degree of automation. So wherever, I mean, what we see in the market, and this is really around the globe, is there are a lot of competitors in terms of software which just pop up and say, hey, we can do it better as other software vendor. But the degree of automation is so high that that you are able to handle this amount of requests, right? So they have customer service, they need the telephone, the agents talking to the customers, so the system needs to work 24/7, right? So this is a huge challenge. They have a huge amount of data they producing, which is when you take E.ON, what I mentioned before, which is a 40 terabyte system, or we had CMIC, which is a 50 terabyte system, right? Or we had a request in the US, which also a 50 terabyte system, and they want to move into the cloud. They want to detox their systems, right? They want to downsize their databases, only take what they really need, and so on. And at the same time, they have high requirements on data exchange, regulated by the government, right? So they need to change any customer request process-wise, and this changes when we take Germany. This changes all 6 months, right? So they give new regulations, so which means when we're talking and when we come back to a transformation, so this needs to be taken into account, right? So you need to understand so how the automation works, the work needs to be migrated, and you need to understand how you bring the data over. They need historical information because they have all their analyses, their calculations, the customer information, the 360-degree views for the agent needs to be available in one system, locking into the other system in both, right? So you have to handle a very short period of downtime when it comes to integration, and for the downtime, if there is a downtime. So you need to handle the requests coming in this downtime and processing them post or pre, or however you're going to into the system. So you need to understand, or let's put it this way: you need to have industry smell, right, and bring it into the process understanding, and then you need to bring the data over in the right format, in the right way, because one of the requirements what we see today when people move to S4HANA or even to non-S or coming from non-S, they quite often split their customer bases, right? They say, hey, we have the B2C business, and we have the business, and we go in one direction and the other direction, or we go in with a small group of customers first the system, and we try it for a while, and then we move wave-wise to the system. So there is quite often not a one-step approach. It's quite often, so we go with this group of customers to this system, and this fits better to our requirements, and we go with this group of customers to system and services, and this needs to be edited, moved, and you understand the processes in between, and quite often you need a reintegration into the old system that you can even handle if someone moves back into the old system. So this is quite important as well, which is an integration business, right? So so this, I think, this are a couple of the challenges we have, and of course when we talk about we going selectively with historical data, there will be always a kind of rest, right? And this needs to be understand how to decommission this kind of data, as you have special requirements in terms of billing in the utilities. So there are billing document changes and manipulations, right? So when you get your bill as a customer, and after a couple of months you say, hey, this is not correct, right? So you need to change it. So this is a general process. You can just change your bill within 3 years, like with a time frame within 3 years, and then you need a process. If you say, hey, I go with 2 years of history to a system, you need a process in your retention storage that you can get the information from the retention storage and get it into your system, that you can change the bill and create a new billing document, which is quite important and reduces a lot of effort for the customer.
Yeah.
Right? And all this information needs to be available before you start your project. So this is what we do with our customers, and we scan it. We say, hey, these are your logs on devices. These are your manual correction on billings, and so on. And we say, hey, these are the critical parts, and we need to take care about this before we start the transformation. So
yeah.
as you find out afterwards, right? So it's too late.
Yeah, that's right, and that would tend to rule out, a new implementation of SAP with no history. It's never going to work. At the same time, a purely technical upgrade, you've mentioned things there. They want the ability to be able to select. They want the ability. I mean, data quality is when you've got 5 million, 10 million customers, that the impact of poor data quality is going to be huge on the business, both in terms of, the trust that your customers have in you, but also the cost of processing, requests from customers. So you need to be able to improve that system, selectively migrate that system, and the technology with which you do it has to be hugely performant on those kind of volumes, with and repeatable. So it's a perfect kind of storm, really, in terms of going that selective data transition route to go to S4. It looks like a route that you have to take for utilities businesses, and particularly, I think, data quality and system improvement, and being able to show that you've made improvements for your customers in order to be able to meet the commitments that you've made, particularly in the UK, the commitments that they've made as part of their asset management plans, the budgets that they've agreed with government. They have to be able to show that they've met those commitments. So there's a lot going on in those programs. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Yeah, great. I hope everybody has enjoyed this. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Ben, thank you for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.